Hello and welcome to another hashtag Now Smoking cigar review from cigaradvisor.com. I'm Gary Korb, your host, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Jared Gulick.
What's up,
we work
guys?
together at cigaradvisor.com. We're both writers, and I thought, it'd be a nice idea to break up the monotony a little bit and have someone else give their opinion of the cigar. So I brought Jared along, and we are going to do this Lustrum Kudzu Medio Tiempo, it says here on the band. This is a 5-year anniversary from Southern Draw. And it's really gorgeous. Robert did it in a Belicoso shape, and it's box pressed, which I like. And let's see, it's pretty firm. I don't feel any soft spots, which helps when it's box pressed, right? That helps push it down a little bit.
It's nice and smooth too.
It is smooth. It's a beautiful looking wrapper, and I believe this is a Habano wrapper. And we'll get into all the details a little while, but. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. I don't normally do this. I'm going to cut this with a V cutter. And Jared, I see you have cut yours at an angle. What's up with that?
That's the Robert Holt special right there.
Robert Holt special.
The Robert Holt special, yeah. So I actually was watching Robert on one of his own live streams a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about that his cigars, particularly the Kudzu LUSTRUM, smokes better with this angle cut. Some people call it the Dickman cut,
right?
But it's angle cut. Now you can do one of two ways. You can either put it upside down so that the smoke is going to hit the roof of your mouth, or you can put it down so that the smoke directly hits your tongue, and you get a different experience every time. So it's kind of cool. It's a way to dial up the complexity and kind of give you a little bit of like you can fake it a little bit.
Yeah, I've done the Dickman cut a few times. I kind of like it, but I just thought for fun I would do it with the eye cutter, or the cat's eye cutter, and then so we have two different. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we get right. So I'm getting I don't know. It smells really nice and sweet. Yeah, it smells pretty good. The let's see with the pre-draw though. Hold on. Kind of like salty, leathery.
I'm getting a little bit of fruit, but so let me try to turn it upside down.
Let's see again.
And there I get the salt.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Let's see. It's going to be hard to light this. Whoa. Okay. Well, we didn't destroy it.
Right. We were just talking about it. It's hard to light up a cigar outside.
Yeah,
You can't see the flame.
This
is expert level lighting.
A couple weeks ago, I really destroyed the brulee. It was anyway, but it turned out okay. All right. Well, the draw is pretty good.
Yes.
It's a little tight. Maybe it's because of the cut. But what are you getting?
A little bit of earth, a little bit of, I should say, a lot of pepper. Actually, there's quite a bit of pepper.
Yeah. I got the. I just got it now. A pepper blast.
And it's almost like veggie-like. Get that veggie, you know that veggie sweetness you get once in a while? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. It's like a crisp sweetness. Just reminds me of vegetables,
All I'm getting right now is pepper. And I know Robert does like to make his cigars a little peppery. He likes that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine. That's his thing. And that's the character of the cigars. It's really well built, and I really like this Habano wrapper he has on here.
Medio Tiempo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting some of that salt that you taste on the pre-light. Are you getting any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit, but it's mostly earthy and peppery right now. So I'll tell you what, we're going to get down to the first inch, and we'll see how it goes from there. Welcome back. We're at the first inch, and I'm still getting a lot of pepper out of this thing. And the draw is a little weak. I think I'm going to have to recut it. But anyway, let's talk about the details of the cigar. It says here that once every 5 years, Southern Draw plans to release a special one-time blend to celebrate the family's commitment to a growing brand. And Southern Draw has been doing pretty good, actually. The Lustrum, meaning 5-year period. This is a limited production offering, so it'll be very small batches. So we're talking about this cigar, 25,000 to 75,000 total cigars.
And that's it.
When they do these. The blend of this was limited production Nicaraguan Puro. It's a Nicaraguan Puro, okay. It's comprised of thick and oily Medio Tiempo Habano wrapper with Nicaraguan Ometempe binder. Oh, that's where the peppers come from.
Yes.
And a vintage Nicaraguan longleaf filler tobaccos. And so it's a Nicaraguan puro, and it's made at AJ's factory. You know, Robert and AJ work together. And I'm just gonna see if Robert's right. I'm gonna recut this because I really would like to get a better draw.
Yeah.
So, you know, the V-cut just ain't working for me, folks, I guess, you know. We've done it before in the show, and so I cut it this way. I don't know if that was right.
Yeah.
He cut it the right way. He cut it down across from the band. I did it, you know, sideways. But
I think Robert is right
think so?
because I haven't had any draw problems. And I know you said you're still getting a lot of pepper, but for me, the cigar has kind of settled in at this point. So I'm getting a little bit more of that sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm actually getting some notes of fruit in there.
Really? Okay, well, I tell you what, this helped.
Yeah.
Because it's not as peppery, and it is starting to round out now.
Yeah.
And look, my burn wasn't even very even from that. You know, I didn't even have a good burn. You're getting a much better burn, too.
I don't know how. I couldn't see it either when I lit it up.
Well, oh yeah, now I'm getting a nice volume of smoke, and it's still earthy to me. I'm not getting that fruity note that you're talking about, but let's see what else there is about here. It says it's constructed in Esteli. We just said at AJ Fernandez. It will be available only in this size. It's called a Belicoso Fino, and it's a 5.5 by 52 ring, box pressed. And I like those dimensions. I like 52 ring for some reason. With a total of 2,500 10-count paper mazzos, these cool little mazzos, featuring hand-drawn art depicting the family's prior military service, which is why you have the camo, and the history of our little cigar brand. So it's about a $12 cigar.
Yeah.
You get 10 in the mazzo. It's about $118.99. That's list price. At famous-smoke.com, you're not going to pay that much. But I guess, you know, this is a pretty hefty cigar. It's got a lot of tobacco. It's got good tobacco. I'd say, you know,
excellent tobacco.
$12, you know, list price. It's not unreasonable.
No, not unreasonable. Especially considering that they're, you know, these Medio Tiempo wrappers that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is rare tobacco. So
Tell me about it.
Medio Tiempo is about, they say that it only occurs about in 1 every 10 tobacco plants. So you're talking about the uppermost primings of the tobacco leaf, which most people consider the Corona and the Ligero.
Right.
But every once in a while, one of these tobacco leaves, or these tobacco plants, they actually have another set of leaves at the top, which blenders call Medio Tiempo. And they're among the strongest, but it's hard to get ones that are large enough to use for wrappers. So even if they're growing them, you know, even if they're growing and sprouting,
right,
the chances are that they're not going to have a whole lot to use. So these tend to be a little bit more rare.
Really?
So,
Now, I thought Medio Tiempo was when they leave the leaves on the plant for, well, it's supposed to be half time, which is Medio Tiempo, but like for twice as long, for double time, but they call me.
I think they call it different things. It depends. Like I've seen it called out that way, but I've also seen other, you know, blenders talking about that it's a specific priming on the plant. But to your point, I've seen that. I've seen
like
that
when I
called
first
out.
started in the business and I learned about Medio Tiempo, they said, well, we leave the leaves on twice as long, and you know, it makes a good flavor. And, but anyway, let's see how we're doing here. Well, it definitely has rounded out. I'm getting, it's got the peppery finish for sure.
Yes.
But I'm getting more like kind of more like a woody, oaky kind of a note. You know, I'm just not getting a lot of sweetness out of the cigar. Are you getting any sweetness at all?
I'm still getting a little bit, but it's not as pronounced. Now it's more of a savory type of character. At this point, like there's a bit more salt. I agree with you.
Still getting salt. Yeah.
I agree with you on the woodiness, but to me, it's almost a little bit nuttier.
Okay.
So it's similar, you know, but it's just a little more on the salty side for me. But I like that. I like when a cigar's got a salty note to it.
Yeah, you know what? That salty taste has probably been there in a lot of cigars over the years. I just never thought about it.
Right.
But now I pick it up a lot. And I think Robert even said that the Medio Tiempo is what gives it that saltiness. Because remember when he came to visit us on the show, and I said, you know, I get kind of a salty thing. That's the Medio Tiempo, he said. Yeah,
he definitely did.
So, anyway.
It's a proper cigar. It's an absolutely proper cigar.
proper cigar. I'm not. So, anyway, now it's interesting too. You're drinking orange juice.
I am.
With yours, which is very tangy and obviously orangey and fruity. I got the iced coffee here, which is sweet. So I'm getting my sweetness from this. So I'm wondering if that's affecting our palates.
It could be. For me, anytime you have something citrus, what it tends to do is it brings, because like I said, I like the saltier notes, so it brings those out because you're overpowering the sweetness in the cigar with the sweetness of the drink. But and you're also getting that acid in there as well. So that's why I like to have a citrus type. It used to be soda, now it's orange juice instead. But I think it brings out those notes. And I usually like to do it, especially when I'm having something that's got a little bit more oomph to it, because it's a balance.
Okay.
It's a contrasting pairing, but it also provides that balance.
All right. Well, anyway, we're almost down to the second act, so let's see what happens there. All right, time for Act 2, and I am well into Act 2. Jared just about with me.
Just trailing.
Oh, there goes the ash. That always happens. All right. But I got to tell you, I got good news. I finally hit the sweet spot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's
Do
really
tell.
tasty now. Yeah, definitely a change, major change for me. I'm getting I'm getting some sweetness now, and kind of like let's see, breadiness. Yeah, but it definitely opened up for me. It's definitely a lot sweeter and a lot more enjoyable for me. How about you? How are you doing there?
So I get a correlation with the breadiness because it's more of a graininess for me.
Yeah.
But that vegetable thing that I was telling you about in the
Okay.
beginning, that is a bit more pronounced now. And
I think I know what you mean now. Yeah.
have you? Now I know you're not big on it, but have you retroed this?
No, but it's time.
Yeah. So
It's time to do that.
I just did, but I'll let you
All
do
right.
it and then we'll talk
Okay.
about it.
Woo. A little nutty, but there's some pepper in there, but it didn't blast me out.
Did you get any raisin?
Raisin. Let me see.
I think the cicadas got raisin.
No, not really. I rarely get, maybe it's just my nose, I rarely get like fruit flavors and stuff. I usually just get pepper or no pepper.
Yeah, it's odd for me. Like usually I only get a floral or fruity note generally through the nose. Sometimes, like earlier on in the cigar, I got a fruity note just off the smoke itself, directly through the mouth. But through the nose, for some reason, whatever chemistry is in my body or biology I have, I'm just wired to get, more citrusy or flowery or fruity notes through the nose.
Wow. Well, it's definitely a hearty Nicaraguan cigar. Who do you think this cigar is for?
Well, it's not full tilt, for sure, but it is strong. So I would say it's probably going to fare better for the intermediate smoker, somebody who's been smoking maybe a year or two, and they're trying to graduate into a little bit more robust type of profile. This is going to smoke very well for them. For people who, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard from, from a Southern Draw like Brimstone or just Jacob's Ladder by itself. He gets a reputation for just being super strong. And don't get me wrong, a lot of his cigars are very strong, but this one is, I would say it's medium plus, and it's gonna, like I said, lend better to that intermediate crowd.
Really? I'm getting full.
You're getting full?
Yeah. But
Well, we're
I think
different.
I don't know if he even listed it as medium plus or anything, but I'm not
He
looking.
listed it as medium.
He did.
But that's
Well,
Robert
that's
Holt.
for Robert. Yeah.
For Robert Holt,
Medium for
medium.
Robert is like what, like Baccarat for us or something.
Right.
Yeah. But he did a beautiful job. I got to tell you, this is anniversary cigar, so he put a lot of heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of good things for people. His company, they do a lot of charity work, which I think is great. They do a lot with the military. They get that Navy SEAL cigar,
Yeah.
which we smoked yesterday on the show. and that was very good. And but this is really nice. I would probably prefer smoking this in the evening, you know, or after dinner.
Absolutely.
It's not really a morning cigar per se.
Yeah, it's definitely a good cigar after a meal, and a hearty meal at that. I can see the full-bodied aspect of it, but I wouldn't consider it in the dangerous category. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not dangerous.
No,
But
I think you're right. I think if you have one at least a year or two, even less, maybe just about at least a year
yeah,
of experience smoking different things. You know, you want to try a lot of different things, and I think, yeah, they could handle this.
and now you touched on the anniversary portion about this being their 5-year release. Did you
Right.
know that they're going to release this every 5 years?
Oh.
So it's a limited run. So you want to get it while you can get it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But when it's gone, you're waiting 5 years. And I wouldn't want to have to wait 5 years to smoke this again. So I would definitely get on this. I would definitely get on.
Anyway, I'm enjoying it a lot more now. You know, I you know, people who follow me, they know that I like more of a sweeter cigar. And there is some sweetness in there. I'm sure there's some jalapa in there, which is going to be a little sweeter. But that Ometepe binder, and you know, I tell you, I was talking to some people in the industry a couple weeks ago about, you know, something. I needed some advice for a article I was writing, and we talked about the binder. And the binder, you know, a lot of people don't give the binder enough credit, and
Absolutely.
I think here that the binder is playing a really big role. That Ometepe
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, Nicaraguan Ometepe binder. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's bringing a lot of the spice and the pepper is coming through that Ometepe tobacco. Because I mean, when you're thinking about all that soil that's isolated in the middle of Lake Nicaragua, you know,
Yeah, I know.
it's purely 100% volcanic soil.
Yeah.
100%.
And the other thing is, you know, you want to make sure you put the right wrapper over the right binder, and he's used this Nicaraguan Habano, which is nice and thick. It's not giving me any problems. It's not cracking.
Right.
We have a little breeze today. It's not really being affected by that. My burn is really nice now. It's really evened out. So I think the cut is the thing.
It is the thing, and you know, we said it before, but it's worth repeating. You know, Robert knows what he's talking about when he's giving the advice and telling you how to cut his cigars. Now, whether you put it up to the roof of your mouth like I talked about, or you put it down to your tongue, that's going to be up to you and your personal profile and what you want to experience. But I would say experiment it. Put it in, put it upside down, put it to the side.
Yeah, or just cut it straight too. You know?
You could do whatever you want.
I've always found, you know, I like certain torpedoes, certain figurados, but they tend to be problematic for me for some reason, and I always have to like bite down, you know, at a certain point to
Just
get the
open it up.
flow better.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see what happens in Act 3, and we'll finish it up. All right. Well, look at that ash. Oh, there it goes.
Look at that ash.
Wouldn't you know it? That's what happens on live television. But your ash is really nice, and I've had some really nice ashes too. It's burning beautifully. Whoa, it's burning beautifully. Hey,
Yeah.
and it didn't crack.
This is a testament not only to, you know, Robert's blending abilities, but AJ's rolling abilities
Oh, sure.
down in his factory. Because as Gary said, AJ Fernandez does all of his cigars. And I mean, being outside in the wind, which has been kind of breezy today, it's maybe
It's affecting me more than you.
yeah, but it's just I mean, there's a slight little bit of a, you know, deviation here, but this has just been a near flawless burn throughout, at least for me.
Yeah. Well, for me too.
Yeah, and
My ashes keep dropping off into the microphone and stuff, but
you know, they always say that the hallmark of a great cigar is great construction.
yes,
It's all
absolutely.
built upon that, because if you don't have that, it can be the best cigar in the world, but you're going to hate it.
And you know you're going to get that, and
Yeah.
I think that's why Robert wanted to work with AJ. At least one of the reasons he did, I can tell you that. And I'm down to the nub already at this point. I'm still enjoying it. What are you
Yeah.
getting so far? Any flavor? Any change ups?
Yeah, a little bit. I wanted to backpedal a little bit because
Sure.
when we were off camera, we were talking back there that it got right before the transition, like right after we stopped rolling, it got very strong. And it's dialed back since then again.
Yeah.
But I have to backpedal because somebody's going to hit that point and they're going to look at this video and say, hey, you told me this is for intermediate smokers. This is a little too strong for me. So it might get you here and there, but I still think 90% of the cigar you're gonna enjoy it, even if you're an intermediate smoker.
Yeah,
But
I think so too, especially if they have a pretty well developed palate at that point.
yeah,
I'm still getting, well, right now I'm getting, the sweetness has gone away. So I'm getting more of that earth, and of course we're down to the end here. I mean, look, there's less than 2 inches left.
this is a nubber. This is
So you
absolutely
would,
a nubber.
and and it's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not getting. It's not really harsh. It's not overpowering. I don't feel heady.
Right.
Of course, we haven't stood up yet. But it's certainly a far cry from like the Jacob's Ladder.
Oh,
Like
man.
that. It's not that strong.
No, not nearly that strong, but in its own right, it has a little bit of attitude, which is okay. It's okay to have a little bit of attitude, because I think what a lot of blenders,
plucky.
yeah, what I like about Robert, what
Yeah.
he does better than almost anybody in the industry right now is when he's going and setting out to make a strong cigar, he puts flavor way ahead of everything else.
Well, yeah. I
So
think
he's
you
saying,
have to. Yeah.
he's saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you a little bit of a ride. You're gonna enjoy it, but it's gonna taste great. And I think that is an important attribute. That there's so many pepper bombs are just pepper bombs to be
Yeah.
strong. It's like, this is the notch on my belt that I got today.
Right. Right. And this is my first 5th anniversary Lustrum. You've had this before.
This is my second.
Now, how does
Yeah.
this compare to the last cigar you had?
It was a little different. I was writing up the review for this, and it was a little bit different. But I also think I had smoked it later in the day, so it was later in the day, so it felt a little bit more even keeled to me. So again, I'd recommend this, to your point, later in the day, probably after dinner. As a we're in the morning here. It's
Yeah.
Not really a morning cigar.
No.
But it's okay in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are guys out there that they smoke full body all day long.
And this is also one of the few cigars I've had in a long time that hasn't gone out on me once.
Yeah, that's true. We have no relights.
No relights.
I mean, the wind's probably helping a little bit, but I mean, I rarely have to relight a cigar these days. I mean, most of them are pretty well made. I think that the construction over the years has gotten so much better, and I think the reason for that is, and I've talked to people about this in the business. The cigar smokers today are so much more educated. There's so much more information out there that they really know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's
It's different. I mean, even just 5-6 years ago, I mean, you could go up to most smoke shops and people didn't know what the difference between growing regions were. But now with everybody's got a smartphone in their hands, everybody can look it up whenever they want.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks for watching #Now Smoking. This is the Lustrum 5th anniversary from Southern Draw, the Kudzu Medio Tiempo. It's a Belicoso Fino. And I want to thank Jared for joining me today. We had a great time, and I hope you learned something about the cigar.
Absolutely.
And once again, thanks for joining us on #Now Smoking. We'll see you next time, and happy smokes.